Unlocking University Life Achievements with Carolyn and her friends. Welcome, Mrs. Carrots here. A special welcome to all of the new subscribers. It's wonderful to see so many people subscribing now. Looking forward to the day when we get up to 100 subscribers. I hope that does happen eventually. Gary, who just threw an elixir at that sim, it was a potent friendship elixir. At least he's got a friend now. Well, Gary is the star of this episode. He's the only one of a household of 7 who has come to university this time. He's only here for 1 week. This is his second semester at university. Hopefully, at the end of the week, he will graduate with his communications degree. At the moment, he's telling a ghost story. This is episode 21. Back in episode 12, Carolyn and Wilma moved to Sunlit Tides from their home in Isla Paradiso, where Carolyn had completed all the outstanding Island Paradise badges for me. And Katie joined the household in episode 12, and at the end of that episode, the 3 of them set off for university. They spent 2 weeks there, and they got a long way through their degrees. Carolyn and Katie were doing a business degree, and Wilma was enrolled in a fine arts degree. When they returned from university, I added 4 new Sims to their household because we needed new Sims to assist getting some of the badges, some of the extra badges, because it's all about getting university life badges now, and there's about 40 badges still to get from the university life, plus any other badges we can pick up along the way. Now, the 4 new Sims that we added were Gary, James, Marie, and Enid, and each one was added for a specific purpose. Now, at that point, I had 2 sets of Sims. The first 3 had already had 2 weeks at university and had almost completed their work towards their degrees, and the second group of 4 had never been to university. They had varying amounts of skill because I didn't add them all in at the same time, but mostly they had very few skills. And I expected the first 3 to graduate and the second 4 to have to go back for another term, but that isn't what happened. 6 of them ended up graduating, but no badges were awarded. I tried adding an extra honorary degree to Katie just to see if the badge would be awarded, and I used the lifetime happiness reward of honorary degree for Katie, and she got the badge for doing a fine arts degree. Now, the only one who did not get their degree awarded to them at the end of the previous visit was Gary. So in an effort to get Gary his degree and to see if the badge will awarded, he's arrived here at university on his own, and he's currently attempting the shave and haircut trick. He has a wish to learn this trick, and I'm going to keep him at it until he does learn the trick. This is Sunday. His classes don't start until tomorrow, and he's at the Student Union building at university. He's doing a communication degree, and his object is the portable radio station. He wanted to have a go at playing ping pong, so here he is. I think he wants to win 5 games. Don't think I'll keep him at it for that long. Well, he needs to throw elixirs at 50 Sims to complete his lifetime wish. He's already got to the top of the alchemy skill. He just now needs to throw the 50 elixirs. And I think he's thrown 1 so far, because he'd thrown none when he arrived at uni, and he threw 1 potent friendship elixir. So he's got a friend now. Good shot. She missed it, and he won that game by the look of it. Congratulations, Gary. So he's going to go and play foosball by himself, and the 2 girls are going to go and play another game of ping pong. That's the way to get better. Just keep playing it. There's somebody down the end there playing with the arcade machine. It seems to me that there's quite a few Sims around Gary at the moment, and they're not doing much other than enjoying themselves, and he needs to throw lots of elixirs, so maybe he can find a couple of targets here. He's got 50 to throw. She looks interested in him. He's got pink hearts. I've seen her around a bit. I think we saw her quite a lot in the previous episode as well. It looks like she's already got a graduation robe, so she must be back doing a 2nd or 3rd degree or something, more than a 1st degree anyway. Another game of ping pong going on in the background, and the university mascot's playing with the arcade machine. Paparazzi's there to record the throwing of the elixir, and there it is. He got a wish granted then. He got 225 lifetime happiness points. He threw the elixir at her. I waited to see what might happen autonomously, and I thought they might become close friends or something, but they just decided to go back to what they were all doing previously, playing foosball, table tennis, or arcade machines, and that paparazzi just left standing there. I've never had a sim try to get something for free out of the refrigerator, so that's what I decided to get Gary to do next. Told him to go and shake the fridge, all the while wondering if it might fall on him and we have a ghost on our hands. Well, nothing happened there. Have another go, see if he shake the fridge and have something happen. I know he's going to kick it. Not a very cooperative fridge, we'll leave it for now. Get his radio station out and do some preparation for class tomorrow. Meanwhile, he can report on the strange goings-on at the Student Union building on Sunday afternoon, just before the week's classes began. After the end of his radio broadcast, Gary decided to accept an invitation to a party. He wanted the opportunity to see inside one of the other houses, and so did I, of course. And he wanted to throw some more elixirs. And he wanted to meet some new Sims and have some fun before he had to sit down and study all week. I see he's getting around by limousine. I don't think he has done anything to deserve it, but I could be wrong. He's arrived at the house where the party is. They've got lounge chairs in their front yard and a little pink flamingo that he can kick over, but he won't because I won't let him. Time to go indoors. I wonder if he's worked out who he's going to throw the first elixir at. I'd like to be able to just click on a sim and have a drop down of all the available elixirs, but you've got to go into his inventory, click on the elixir and then choose what you want to do with it, which makes the whole process a bit time consuming. I'm having major issues with my microphone and my speakers, so it's taking me forever, so I'm sorry that this video is going to be a lot later than expected. So in the garage, they've got a keg set up. Hello, someone's going to go streaking. I don't have that horrible black square because it's just so ugly, and my Sims very rarely do anything that require it anyway. And that Sim that just decided to go streaking doesn't really have anything to hide. I guess he'll go running around for ages. Now there's lots of carrying on outside in the dark. Now he's gone back inside looking for somebody else to throw an elixir. He's going to have to do a lot of elixir throwing tonight because he won't be able to do much during the week when he's studying and going to lectures and doing exams. Is this his target? Looks like it is. She must have come along. Oh, red one. She's come a long way to get her elixir. I think that might have been an invigorating elixir. Heading downstairs into the basement. There's a pool table, not a pool table, there's a table tennis table, ping pong, and a bar. There's 3 potential victims there sitting up straight waiting to get their plates washed. Harry stands there waiting patiently for his target to be available. I don't think the other 3 are quite sure what he's up to. They know one of them's going to cop something. So the 2 blokes just take off and leave female Sim there to face the music. Or Gary. Alone. Here she comes. Oh, she got a purple elixir. I think that's the Vial of Bliss, so she should be feeling quite happy now. He's after another target. Everybody went upstairs from the basement. These are all Sims that he doesn't know. They're all strangers to him. Oh, another purple one. She must be feeling blissfully happy too now. He gets lots of pink hearts when he throws that purple elixir at someone. That's a keg. Go and have a drink, see if he can get juiced. He's just standing facing in the corner, drinking. So I sent him home and he's having a sleep in his dream bed that I've put in there specially for him this semester. That's the beds that he and James slept in the previous semester. Because last time there were 7 Sims from his household. Alien abduction. I've got this house set up for 7 household members and 1 roommate. But this time we've got 1 household member and 7 roommates. So I've left the doors alone and therefore all but 1 roommate is locked out of a bedroom. I haven't worked that out yet, but I will shortly when I discover them all lying around on the sofas and things trying to sleep. So Gary's just headed off to class for his first class. And he's out again. He's feeling a little bit down, so he can play a computer game on his tablet for a while. I think it's one of those social games. He's got another class shortly, so there's not really time for him to run all the way back to the dormitory. Having a bit of a look at the game he's playing. Looks like The Sims, doesn't it? Little house. He's off to class. And there he goes. We're going to rush through this week. We'll only see bits and pieces when he's doing something interesting, so that we send him home and it's still the same episode and he's completed his degree, let's hope. It's a paparazzi there, the guy with the blonde hair. Here comes Gary. Finish that lecture. Gary's not entirely thrilled with the paparazzi, and he's got a pocket full of elixirs. And not all of them are nice elixirs. And I think he's decided it's time he threw a not quite so nice elixir at someone, and who better than a hanging around local paparazzi. Oh, he threw it. It's all grey and black. Paparazzi fell over. He's gone into the ground. He's a zombie. Gary just turned a paparazzi into a zombie. And he doesn't have any cure elixirs because he hasn't worked out how to make them yet. So I'd say that paparazzi is just going to be a zombie from here on. Don't think Gary cares too much. The only zombie around, and it's the middle of the day. We'll have to keep an eye on that sim to see how long he stays a zombie. That sim in the green shirt in the background with the sleepy thought bubble, that's Tiberius Willard. He's one of Gary's roommates, and he's exhausted because he's locked out of all the bedrooms. He's had to stay awake all night. I'm going to have to fix that, aren't I? That's another one of his roommates probably. The ones who are really, really exhausted. That paparazzi's there just standing still. This is the building where they do the communication classes. There's always plenty of activity outside the buildings where classes are on. Gary's in there doing a lecture. And that zombie, he's still a zombie, look, and he's now eating a tree. And it's not even the night of the full moon. Here comes Gary, just finished his class. He's got to run past that zombie to get home. I hope the zombie doesn't spot him and attack him and turn him into a zombie as well. Have two zombies in the world. No, Gary just snuck straight past. Didn't take any notice of that poor zombie. He needs to learn a bit of cooking skills, so I set him to work in the kitchen back at the dorm, and he is doing some cooking and some eating as well, of course. Now, I still, at this point, haven't woken up to the fact that none of the roommates can get into their bedrooms. That must be one of the paintings Wilma started. I have to send her back for another term at uni to finish it. See the sim here? He was in this dorm in semester 1 when I had Wilma and Katie and Carolyn here. Look at all the roommates. They're all trying to sleep on the chairs. This is when I started to realise something was up. And then I went and unlocked the bedrooms. What a mess. Gary usually runs around the house cleaning up back in sunlit tides, so I might get him to clean the kitchen up when he's finished cooking. One of his favourite autonomous activities is running around finding all the garbage and taking it out. There he is cleaning up the sink. He's already cleaned the other one underneath the food processor. I think I'll have to get him a lifetime reward that makes him a speedy cleaner. It takes so long for him to clean. And there he is, having a sleep. The first day of lectures is over. We're making some progress. Tomorrow is Tuesday, and he's got his communications class out in the quad where they all work on their portable radio stations. He's got to go and have a shower and have something to eat, so he's all set for classes, but he better do some study before he goes. He's got plenty of time, but he's all ready to go, except time hasn't arrived yet, so he's reading his books. We want him to get a perfect GPA. For some reason, known only to Gary, he decided to go to class early this morning. He got to the quad before the sun was up. But he wasn't alone. There was plenty of other Sims who had decided to be there hours before class was due to commence. Not a lot. He was one of the first to arrive. So now they'll be here for several hours because they've got there hours before the class starts. And they're just going to talk on their radio stations. I don't know why this class is on Tuesdays, because all of the other classes that use the object Thursdays, there are degrees, of course, that I haven't yet sent anybody to university to do, so it may not be unique to the communications class. So that's it. We'll just leave him get on with his class. This is the only class he's got today, then he'll go home and study. I popped back in to see how he was going later on when the whole class was in full swing, and there were so many radio stations set up in that quad. It made me wonder if the early arrival was so they could get a spot and the late arrivals maybe just missed out. After class, I sent him to the administration building, which was very close to where he had his class, and told him to apply for extra funding. And he was lucky. He got 3,131 simoleons. He came out of the administration building and decided, instead of running straight home to do some study, he decided it was time for some more elixir throwing. So he was looking for targets, and he found one, and he used a jar of Freindship. He wants friends. And she was happy. Here's another one. Is she just going to stand there and let him throw us an elixir at her? Yes, another Freindship. And there's hearts. This one's going to become significant. I think he saw something in her as he started pursuing her. I didn't think they were a good match, but I thought it might be interesting to encourage things along. It turns out, I later discovered, her name is Abigail, Abigal, and her traits look interesting, something I would never have come up with this combination. Hydrophobic, dislikes children, snob, neurotic, good, perfectionist. She sounds interesting. I wonder what her autonomous activities might turn out to be. We shall have to see. Meanwhile, Gary's still tossing elixirs at random sims. Now, that sim with her back to us on the right, talking to the sim that was just got the Freindship thrown a while ago, I got the impression that she might be an evil sim. And he's throwing elixirs at everyone. Anyway, I decided that he should throw a personality adjuster at that one that I thought might be evil. Of course, I had no way of knowing what her traits were, nor what they were changed to. So it was just a way of using that particular elixir. Looks like there's going to be quite a few very happy students at the campus on this particular Tuesday. He's throwing at it. Tossing of elixir count is going up rather quickly. He hasn't thrown more than one elixir at any sim so far, because the lifetime wish says to throw elixirs at 50 sims, so I'm assuming it's got to be 50 different sims rather than just 50 elixirs. And it's giving me a count, and there's a protest going on now. See, she's still evil. Abigail's having a bit of a rant on her podium. He's finally decided to hit that sim with the personality adjuster. And she pulls a little bird out of her pocket. And the school cheer is going on in the background as well. Some music. Now he's decided it's time to do a bit of work towards his degree, and he's pulled out his radio station. He's got a lot to report on. There's some crazy sim running around campus, throwing elixirs at everybody. I think he should get that word out. You never know, he might be overrun by students who want to get elixirs thrown at them, because they do make them feel very good. Sitting down with Abigail, reading books. Study time. That's our evil sim. I wonder if she's still evil. She had the personality adjuster tossed at her before. I think she's actually had 2 elixirs thrown at her now, because I think he threw an invigorating elixir at her first, and then later on he hit her with the personality adjuster when she was being evil to the other sims. Bit of sim activity going on there. Oh, autograph. He had to give his autograph to that sim. Back at home, he's having his dinner. Almost bedtime. Ghost story. It's very dark. It's amazing the number of sims that sit down directly in front of the front door. Fortunately, they don't seem to block it totally. It's quite pretty outside at the moment with all those lights twinkling. That's from their job board, the adventure board. We haven't had a sim apply for jobs yet. We might do that in another semester. Gary's going to be tossing more elixirs, I think. I thought he might leave his household alone, but maybe he won't. This is a roommate he's talking to there. Didn't seem to throw an elixir at him. Another one of their roommates. I don't know all their names at this point. There's so many of them. At least Gary's finally settled down to do some reading of his study books, even if he is sitting reading at the table while other Sims are eating. Oh, what's going on here? I don't think she liked having a kiss blown at her. Never know what those roommates are going to get up to. At least they've all got beds now. They're not sleeping on the lounge chairs. Next morning, lectures, elixir throwing is still going on. Introductions. Gary's off to class. Didn't get a chance to toss an elixir at that sim, but he was planning to, and he ran away instead of throwing the elixir. So this is Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. This is another day where he's got 3 different classes to go to, so he'll be busy all day, won't do much extracurricular activities. We do want him to get this degree because we're wanting to see if badge gets awarded when there's only one sim. There's Abigail. I've got another sim that I made who's called Abigail, but this is Abigail. And we wait for Gary to get through his classes for the day. And it's night time. Classes are over. As soon as his final class was over, Gary managed to run off to the administration building and apply for funds again. This time, he was luckier. He got 3,379 simoleons. Then he was off home to quickly have something to eat, do some study, and have a good night's sleep to be ready for Thursday's class. Thursday has arrived. Gary's off to class. This is in the Student Union building. There's a classroom where they have to sit and be lectured to, and we can go in and watch. These are the communications students. See, Gary's awake and taking notes. Somebody's hungry, so we might leave him here because this isn't all that exciting, and there's lots going to happen this afternoon. Tomorrow's going to be exams, and then even more fun and games will be happening after the exams, and we need to leave room for that still to come in the video. So keep working hard there, Gary, and you'll do well in your final exams tomorrow. Directly after class, there is a gathering just inside the door to the Student Union building. Gary's hanging around there with all of the others, having a bit of a chat to some, and I'm sure the idea of throwing elixirs might have entered his mind at this point. University mascot's doing a nice little dance. See that sim with the long sleeve checks shirt on right in front middle there? I think he might be in danger of having an elixir thrown at him at any minute. There he goes. Gary's having fun. Oh, now this elixir is one that I got from a mod. It's not available normally. And this poor sim doesn't know what just hit him. He's crying. He knows something's up. He's going through a transformation. He's not going to be a human anymore. No, he's a plant sim. That's what happens when that druid's life thingamajig, whatever, potion is thrown. If you want that potion, you need to go to Mod The Sims and download the mod. It's to do with elixirs. If you do a search on that, you'll find it, I'm sure. There's about 8 new elixirs in that mod, and this is one of them. I thought, of course, Gary doesn't even know that sim, and he just ran off and left him standing there. His classes are over for the semester. Now he's just got to get ready for the final exam tomorrow. All day tomorrow is going to be doing exams, so he's had to run home and prepare to get ready for tomorrow's exams. He's just gone outside right in front of the door, so Sims have got trouble getting in there, and he's using the radio station, so he is actually working towards his exam. He's studying because that's the communication degree's object, and he gains benefit from using that object. Now he's gone inside studying from one of his study books, being careful not to do too much study, because if you do too much study, you might fail your exam. You have to do just the right amount of study. His fun meter was dropping down into a very sad position, so I decided he could go up to the pool table and practice his shave and haircut trick. He still hasn't conquered that, and he's got a wish to conquer this trick, so we'll see if he can do that now. He's getting close. He did it! Back to study. That exam's coming on soon. When he's finished the exams, he will have lots of time to play games. That night he felt that he just had to get away from study for a while, so he went to a place where there was a party, and that's where he found Abigail, and they were doing keg stands in the front yard. Their friendship is growing slowly. She seems very keen on him. She follows him around a lot, and now she invited him over to her place for the party, but I think he's the only party guest. After a couple of keg stands, he decides it's time for a bit of flirting. Amorous hug. Pink hearts. Let's see what can happen here. A college romance. I hadn't planned for this to happen, but she seems to be very keen, and he's happy to be keen as well. No, she didn't like that bit. She's not ready to have the kiss yet, but she's happy for hugs and cake stands and a little bit of flirting. And he's getting tired. He might just have to go home, I think. Let's have a little chat. Things might get a bit better between them if they get to know each other a bit better. She's been following him around uni for a couple of days. Flowers. No, she didn't want them either. Poor Gary. But he gets plenty of hugs. And looks like he's even having a little kiss there at the moment. Are they getting to be slightly better friends? I'm wondering at this point if this relationship develops and he goes home, will she remember him next time he goes to uni? If he goes again, and will she be there? And if so, will she know him? Only time will tell. There's plenty of hugs and kisses going on there now. They're going indoors together. Looks like he's going to have a snooze in her bed. Oh, she's getting in with him. Things have developed fast. Well, they are a pair of Sims, aren't they? I wonder if there's going to be consequences of this little bit of fun. Gary's going to have a sleep. And next morning it's time for exams, and he decides on the Stride of Pride, all of the way from her place, which is off in the distance somewhere, to the university room where he's going to have to sit for his exam. And he insists on doing the Stride of Pride all of the way. And I spend the entire time panicking. Is he going to get there before the time for the exam is over? Is he going to skip this exam altogether? After a whole week working hard and preparing for an exam, preparing for 3 exams, is he going to throw it all away by insisting on doing the Stride of Pride? He is a sim, I suppose. Well, he did the Stride of Pride all of the way to the exam room, and when he got there, the exam had already started. Fortunately, there weren't any rules about not being allowed to go in and sit for the exam if you're late for it. So he sat for the exam, and he passed it with flying colours. And he passed the other 2 exams that day with flying colours as well. And he got onto the Dean's list. So, we survived the exam day, and he went back to the dorm where he belongs and had a sleep in his dream bed. You'd think the fun and games would have been over by then, but oh no, they were just beginning. There was a thing going around that Gary had heard of where you have to do a keg stand and then go streaking, and he knew a park where there was a keg, and he called for Abigail to come and meet him there to help him do the keg stand, and she came running straight over. She was happy to meet up with him after they both passed their exams the previous day. Up he goes doing the keg stand with the help of Abigail. A lot of the juice ends up on the ground. It's a hugely wasteful method of drinking juice. I'm sure it's got some value to it, just to be able to say you've done it. Of course, when he's finished his keg stand, then it's time to go streaking. And he didn't go streaking by half. He just ran around for minutes. Thought he was going to miss his graduation ceremony for a while. There he goes. Abigail's had enough of him. Crazy sim. But the good thing about this was his exam results came through while he was in the middle of streaking. He got me the badge. Kegs and Pixels is the badge, and it was awarded. So everything's ended well for both of us. I was a bit worried that he might be still streaking at the end of the graduation ceremony and he might miss out on getting his degree awarded, but he managed to bring himself under control and he got back to the dorm in plenty of time to get changed to go to the graduation ceremony. He got back to his dorm in plenty of time and he played a sporting game for a while on the computer. Then he thought he'd write a love letter to Abigail, hoping he might see her at the graduation ceremony. He was really hoping she'd graduated too. Later on, they met up at a little park just not far from the dorm, and they had a lovely little conversation, and they ended up with hearts over their heads. So it was a romantic group meeting. They must be talking about how are they going to keep in touch after they go home from university, because she won't be going home to Sunlit Tides. She's from the university world or somewhere else. But she still doesn't like him giving her a kiss. Not that sort of kiss anyway. The romantic hearts have gone, and she's heading off to the graduation ceremony. I think it's time he went as well. Next thing, everybody was rushing towards the building to attend their graduation ceremony. By the time I got there, Gary was already inside. I saw Abigail outside there and she went in. Eventually the ceremony was over and Gary emerged with his degree, and he got a new trait, and the badge was awarded as well. That was a minor miracle. Didn't expect that to happen. There he is. His phone's ringing, of course. He's just going to do a little dance. He's not going to throw his degree into the air. That's a shame. But he's happy. He's got his communications degree. He can go home now, back to the dormitory to start with. And of course he didn't want to take all of his elixirs back home with him, so he started tossing them around at his roommates back at the dorm. They won't forget him in a hurry. None of the roommates seemed to be objecting too strongly to having him throw elixirs at them, but then he's throwing pretty good elixirs at them. It seems to be either Vial of Bliss or Invigorating Elixirs. He'll just keep it up until he either runs out of elixirs, or he runs out of sims, or he suddenly starts travelling home, because he must start going home shortly. Now that sim there, that's Tiberius. He is the one who got me interested in having a sim with the socially awkward trait, because he was so funny in the first visit that Carolyn, Wilma and Katie had when they first came to university. And now Gary's rushing off home. He's in that vehicle and off he goes back to Sunlit Tides, leaving the university world behind, maybe forever and maybe not. So that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry it's gone over a little bit. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to see more of this series of videos or any other videos I've been making, please click like and consider subscribing. They really do help with getting this video in front of people and encourage me to make more, because next episode we're going to have some fun and games as well back in Sunlit Tides. Thank you for watching, and a huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed, and also if you have liked this video. Bye for now and happy simming.